Hey everyone, Lance from Cinematic Galaxy here again. Look, I'm still going. I'm just trying to catch up. I've got my review of Django Unchained now for you guys. I really want to talk about the latest Quentin Tarantino film. Basically, it stars Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, Samuel L. Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kerry Washington, a bunch of other actors. And yeah, basically, this movie is set back in the 1850s, I believe, around the time of, well, before the Civil War, actually. And it revolves around a slave, Django, and this guy, this bounty hunter, Christoph Waltz, who picks him up. And basically, they're just going on a journey together. They're both kind of, what's the word? I guess helping each other out, if that makes sense. And yeah, I mean, basically, this what Django Unchained ultimately is. If you're going into it expecting like a documentary or a um, historical period piece or something like that, you're probably going to be let down because it's not that. It definitely has the historical elements. It has a lot of stuff relating to history in it, but ultimately what this film is, it's a Western film disguised as a backdrop. Well, no, not disguised as a backdrop. It's a Western film using slavery and that time period as a backdrop. That's really what it is, and it's directed by Quentin Tarantino, so you want to keep that in mind. Now, let me do a little background first on Quentin Tarantino. I haven't seen the Kill Bill films, and I haven't seen Inglourious Bastards, but overall, I'm not the biggest Tarantino fan, actually. Some people probably want to have my head for that, and that's fine, but that's just my honest opinion. I think he's definitely a talent. I respect him for Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs and, well, I didn't like Jackie Brown, but I respect him for, like I said, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs. I see why people love those films, but honestly, I don't really like Pulp Fiction, and I don't really like Reservoir Dogs that much. I'm not saying they're bad films, I'm just saying that they're not my type of movie. So when I went into Django Unchained, I knew people were raving about it and talking about how great it was, and, Quentin Tarantino is just doing his usual and this and that. So when I went into it, I was kind of expecting. I heard really good things about it, so I was like, I could really enjoy this, or I could come away feeling like, yeah, that's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's just not my thing. Thankfully, this movie actually, I thought it was great. I love Django Unchained. And I'm honestly very surprised and happy to be saying that. I love Django Unchained, and I think that this is the movie, for me, where Tarantino's style has felt the most appropriate. It really did. I mean, again, just knowing the backdrop, knowing the time period, the slavery, the racial, the N word used in the film, it's used in the film a lot. It doesn't bother me because, it's reflective of the time. It was probably used a lot more than it was actually used in this movie. So that didn't bother me. The way certain characters talk, again, it's the time period. And, the language and everything. I was able to accept it. And again, this is a Western film, so it just kind of makes sense. Now, one thing to know about this movie is it's very bloody. That'll either turn a lot of people off, or some people will have fun with it. I actually had fun with it, believe it or not, when it was meant to be fun. There are other times in this movie, though, where certain scenes are portrayed seriously and they're portrayed dramatically, and I thought that was really good and really refreshing as well. There are moments that really depict the horrors of slavery and and why this is such a bad thing. And I think that I just think it's really a great kind of tale. It's really something that you're just following, like a Western. It really is a Western. And let me just talk about the real positive of this movie in an organized, cohesive way, because I know I'm kind of all over the place right now. First of all, the music, the score in this film, composed by Ennio Morricone, who did a lot of great westerns of the past, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and the whole Dollar trilogy, and Once Upon a Time in the West, one of my favorite movies of all time. He's done some great Western scores, and he actually does the score for this film, believe it or not, and it's great. Also, the performances, the acting, I thought was very strong. Jamie Foxx was actually really good as this kind of silent Western kind of figure. He was really good. He was an easy character to root for. I really liked him in this role. Also, you've got Christoph Waltz as the bounty hunter as King Schultz, and I loved him. He was terrific in it. Then you have Leonardo DiCaprio, who I think deserved a Best Supporting Actor nomination at the Oscars, but he's got one for the you reviewers, which is good. He was terrific in this movie. I've never seen him play a role like this. It was really kind of hard to watch his character at times, because he played such an evil character in this movie. But he was so great in the role, and I thought he was great. And as for other actors, Kerry Washington, good for what she had. Samuel L. Jackson was actually really funny in this movie, and Samuel L. Jackson, I'm usually kind of like, he usually plays the same thing over and over again, and he does kind of in this movie too. But for me, it actually kind of works in this movie. So it's just whatever. He's Samuel L. Jackson. But yeah, Django Unchained, loved it. Also, the cinematography is terrific. Just really captures that Western atmosphere. It's really nice. The direction of this film is excellent. It's directed incredibly well by Tarantino. I really can't describe it. You just kind of have to see it. But yeah, honestly, out of the films I've seen, I would say that this is Tarantino's masterpiece. This is the film that uses his talents to its greatest advantage. And I think that his style best fits this kind of film, honestly. It really does. And I'm so surprised I love Django Unchained like I did. But I really loved this movie. And I had such fun with it. There's some hilarious moments in it. Like I said, there are also serious, dramatic moments. And ultimately, I was just thoroughly engrossed in the film. And it's actually one of my favorite movies of last year. I love Django Unchained. I really can't think of anything I didn't like about it. I thought it was expertly put together. And I'm going to give it an A+. I really honestly loved it. But I will say it's not for everybody. It's really not for everybody. It's not a movie that everyone should see. But if you're a Tarantino fan, you probably will really like it a lot. You'll probably love it. And I'm not really even a big Tarantino fan, but I actually love this movie, believe it or not. It's my favorite movie of his I've seen so far. So anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of Django Unchained. And stay tuned for my next few reviews. It's Lance with Cinematic Galaxy, signing off. Oh, but before I go, let me also know what your favorite Tarantino film is. I'd like to know. But anyway, this is Lance with Cinematic Galaxy, signing off.